Professor Quentin strode through the hallowed halls of the Institute with an air of unbridled arrogance. His ego, much like his groundbreaking research, knew no bounds. The man reeked of superiority. A dangerous combination of intellect and disdain dripped from his very being. He was a scientific god among mere mortals, or so he believed. Women especially were drawn to his aura of brilliance. They flocked to him like moths to a flame. He, in turn, considered them playthings, their affections a testament to his undeniable charm and intellect. His lab was his castle, and the women willing subjects in his game of conquest. His gaze, sharp and predatory, missed nothing. Quentin had a way with words, a silver tongue that could charm the stars from the sky. He would whisper sweet nothings into the ears of his conquests. Empty promises and fleeting affections were his weapons of choice. He feigned interest in their research, their aspirations. But in truth, they were nothing more than distractions. Beautiful, intelligent distractions from the one true object of his affection, himself. He saw their admiration, their longing, and he reveled in it. He was a collector of hearts, a connoisseur of beauty. But his heart, cold and calculating, remained untouched. He was a scientist, after all, and science, he believed, held the key to unlocking the mysteries of the universe. Love and sentimentality had no place in his grand equation. His latest obsession, the de-aging chamber, a revolutionary invention that promised to turn back the hands of time. It was his magnum opus, his ticket to immortality. The scientific community scoffed, of course. They whispered about his hubris, his audacity to challenge the very fabric of existence. But Quentin knew better. He always did. The chamber hummed with raw power, a testament to his genius. It was a symphony of wires and tubes, blinking lights, and complex equations scrawled across whiteboards. This metal cocoon held the key to his ultimate triumph, the culmination of years of tireless research, late nights fueled by caffeine and ambition. Tonight, he would prove them all wrong. Tonight, he would become a god. But even gods have enemies. In the shadows of Quentin's success lurked jealousy, resentment. A rival researcher passed over for a coveted grant, watched his every move. Dr. Emily Carter, a brilliant but overlooked mind, had reached her breaking point. Quentin had dismissed her theories, belittled her contributions, and stolen her ideas for years.
Enough is enough.
As Quentin prepped for his grand experiment, Emily made her move. A subtle shift in the calibration, a tweak in the formula, a silent act of defiance against the man who had underestimated her for the last time. She knew her sabotage would have consequences, but she didn't care. The man deserved everything that was coming to him. Inside the chamber, Quentin felt a surge of exhilaration. He closed his eyes, savouring the moment. This was it, the culmination of his life's work. He braced himself for the transformation, the rewinding of time, but something was wrong. The hum of the machine intensified, morphing into a deafening roar. Pain shot through his body, searing his very essence. He opened his eyes to a blinding white light. His body, once strong and virile, felt strangely constricted. He tried to sit up, to scream, but found he couldn't. Panic set in, cold and suffocating. He was trapped, his mind racing as his body shrunk. He looked down, his heart pounding against his ribs. Or were they ribs? He couldn't be sure. His once powerful hands were now tiny, chubby fists. His legs, once long and lean, were now dimpled and useless. He tried to speak, to demand answers, but all that came out was a gurgling sob. He was a baby, a helpless, squalling infant. His mind, still sharp and aware, was imprisoned inside the body of a 1-year-old. The irony was not lost on him. He, the man who sought to cheat time, was now at its mercy. The once great Professor Quentin reduced to a sobbing, drooling mess. His reign of arrogance had come to an abrupt and humiliating end. The lab was in an uproar. The chamber's emergency release hissed, revealing the unthinkable. Professor Quentin, or rather, the lack thereof. In his place lay a whimpering infant, swaddled in the remnants of his now oversized lab coat. Consternation quickly turned to amusement. The mighty had fallen, and it was a sight to behold. His female colleagues, their initial shock giving way to a delicious sense of schadenfreude, circled him like avenging angels. They, who had endured his condescending gaze and dismissive remarks, were now in a position of power, and they intended to relish every moment.
Oh, Professor, looks like someone needs a diaper change.
Her perfectly manicured finger tapped his nose, her smile a dangerous thing.
Don't worry, Professor. We'll take good care of you.
They took turns feeding, burping, and changing him, their ministrations a constant reminder of his predicament. He wanted to protest, to demand to be changed back, but the only sound he could manage was a frustrated gurgle. His humiliation was complete. The tables had turned, and he was now at the mercy of the very people he had once considered beneath him.